welcome. I see there are 4 of you tuned in. Thank you for joining me. If you joined early and are foam rolling, you are welcome to continue to do so. You might also use this time to set up. I will not be providing any music, and if that is something that helps you, you are welcome to play your own music at home. And then you might also use this time to gather any props. So I've got a nice thick outdoor blanket I'm sitting on, and you can expect Pigeon to be distracting throughout this entire sequence. Other props other than your own pets might be, I've got some sort of throw blankets and scarves, some couch cushions. I have yoga blocks. If you don't have yoga blocks, something like a thick book can be also very helpful. And then I also have a foam roller, but these things are just meant to be sort of sturdy, stiffer props. Sort of an empty Tupperware could also substitute for sort of sturdy, thicker props. And then we have just a variety of soft props. So that might be helpful. The benefit of doing this practice on YouTube Live is that we won't be able to see and compare or judge yourself or others. You don't even have to worry about me being able to see you, yet we'll also know that we're still having this experience together. We'll begin with a short movement flow, followed by a seated meditation. Today, our Yin practice will be 3 poses, each of which we'll hold for about 3 minutes. And then we'll finish with a relaxation on the floor. During this time, there is no right position or correct alignment because we're not striving for any progression and we won't be adding any force. This should be a passive experience and passive stretch. During the Yin postures, I will demonstrate several different setup options. The first without any props at all, and then adding a variety of different ways to prop or ways that might feel best for you. While I'm demonstrating is totally your time to experiment and fidget and try lots of different things. Once I'm done with the demonstration and settled, you will stay in the pose and I will come back out of it. Once you have settled, you should feel safe to release all tension and all effort and just experience subtle sensations. This practice is a counter, it's an antidote to intensity, and that intensity might be a lot of strength workouts, it might be a different kind of yoga practice, it could also just be the stress and tension of the current times we're in. But the Yin Yoga practice is not meant to in itself be a holistic practice. It's meant to counter and oppose other aspects of our lives where we have effort and trying and attention. So this is a practice of patience, of stillness, and of subtlety. Let's begin. We're going to come onto hands and knees to get started. I'm going to just use my cushion here. My carpet has a little padding for my knees. So from hands and knees, you're going to take one arm and you're going to reach it through, sort of threading your arm through the space between the floor and your body and really reach, twisting, dipping that shoulder. You might reach it up. And then open back to neutral, and then open up towards the ceiling. And you go ahead and find whatever feels good for you. If it feels good to sit your hips back or forward, or letting your hips really carry into the opening, or keep them more centered. And then we're going to find a breath flow with this. We're going to take an inhale here, exhale, twist and compress. Inhale, open. Exhale, twist and compress. Inhale, open. And continue on your own breath pattern, moving at your own pace. Perhaps closing your eyes. another breath or two. And then when you're ready, putting both hands on the floor and taking any movement you need, maybe some rounding and arching of the spine, maybe a rolling of the wrists, maybe a downward dog, whatever's going to feel good for you right now. Just taking a little choice movement before doing the other side. So whichever side you didn't do first, we're picking up the other arm and twisting it through. As you twist it through, reaching long or even reaching up, feeling a deep twist through the shoulders, through the torso, grounded and strong in the hand that's pressing into the floor. And then opening up, reaching up towards the ceiling, rotating through the pelvis, ribs, chest, shoulders. Finding a neck position that's comfortable. It might feel good to look up, but it might feel good to look at the grounded arm. Finding the hip position. And then adding breath. Exhale into the twist. Closing. Inhale, twisting open towards the sky. Exhale, spiraling in. Inhale, opening the chest. Moving on your own breath rhythm. Connecting breath with movement. Taking another breath or two. Finding the time when you feel ready to be done. Coming back to center, and again, finding any movement, twists, perhaps a child's pose, or a downward dog. And then you're just going to find a comfortable seated position that you can comfortably access your feet. We're going to be sitting and using your feet for a little bit. It might be more comfortable to take a pillow or any other prop and just give yourself a little boost. And take one foot and you can prop it on your knee or just leave it on the floor, wherever it feels comfortable. I'm going to cross my ankle over my knee. And I'm going to start by squeezing sort of the behind the ankle calf muscle. This is actually the soleus muscle. I'm going to give that a little gentle squeeze, a little rub. You can rub it however feels good for you. And then find a nice place to sort of hold tension. And then you're going to flex and point your ankle and do some ankle circles. Right, maybe adjust your grip, how you're squeezing and massaging that behind ankle muscle and doing some circles. And then taking that foot and moving those toes, moving the bones in your foot side to side. And then just giving your foot a little squeeze and rub from toes to heel. And I'll do the other side. So again, finding whatever position is good for you, wherever you feel like you can access your ankle, giving those calf to soleus behind the ankle, up behind the shin, giving that some squeezes, some rubs, and then holding that pressure and flex and point. Perhaps adjusting that pressure and doing circles with your ankle. Both directions. And then taking a hold of your foot and squeezing those toes, and then taking the bones inside your foot and moving these side to side. And then giving your whole foot a good squeeze and rub down from toes to heel. And then you're going to put your feet on the floor. Make sure you can see them. Soles of the feet on the floor. You're going to keep your toes flat, the little toes, the 4 little toes flat, and see if you can lift just the big toes and only the big toes. Right? Keeping all 4 little toes on the ground. See if you can lift those toes straight up. It sometimes can help to just give your toe a little tap to help remind it which one you're trying to move. And then put it down. You're going to leave the big toe on the ground and try to lift the little toes. So leaving the big toe on the ground, lifting the little toes. Right. Again, if you have a toe that's not responding, you can give it a little tap, little stimulus just to remind your toes which ones are trying to lift. And then put those down. One more time, big toe, little toes. And then picking a foot up off the ground, flexing your toes towards your nose, curl your toes, and then pointing your ankle and flexing the toes up towards the ceiling. And just shake that out, other side. So I'm going to flex my ankle, ankle towards shin, or foot towards shin, and then curl the toes. And then point the ankle, flex the toes up. Okay. Now find a comfortable seated position for our meditation. You can sit just cross-legged. Again, you can sit cross-legged, or you can even sit in a chair, propping yourself up. You can sit with your legs out, bent or straight, whatever's comfortable. Or you might choose to sit with the legs folded back, and if you do that, you might choose to prop yourself up underneath your hips or underneath your shins to relieve pressure in the ankles. So finding any comfortable position for our seated meditation. So you can find a tall, upright spine. Making any final adjustments. And then as you settle in, you can have palms up, palms down, or palms clasped in your lap. Eyes closed, or a soft, steady gaze on the floor in front of you. As you re-arrive in this space, this time to allow for observation without judgment, without analysis, without response. Observing without reaction to both the external and the internal. always be distractions, things that pull at your attention, your mind, or your emotion, desire to respond. And they might be from outside your space. They might be from my side of the camera. Allow yourself to notice these things and let go of any meaning. Let them just simply be. Distractions will also be internal. Sensations on your body, sensations in your body, or thoughts. Allow yourself to observe them without following them. Bring your awareness to your breath, watching it flow in and out. Noticing the sensation of your breath through your nostrils. Notice the sensation of your breath moving your body. Lengthen and deepen your breath. Long, slow exhales. Let all the air escape. Inhales that release abdominal tension and let the air flood back in. Take another breath or two, and when you're ready, nod your chin to your chest. Gently opening your eyes and bringing movement back. Whatever feels is needed. It could do some side bends or some twists. Or moving your legs. Go ahead and take any movement that you feel is needed for you. For our first yin posture, we're going to do a version of a seated forward fold with straight-ish legs. You could actually do this in a chair with your legs hanging sort of downwards is an option, but I'll get into more propping later. I will start simply on the floor. So on the floor with legs straight extended out in front of you, we're going to just relax tension in the head and allow gravity to carry the torso forward. We're looking for a long line of fascial tension, and it's going to be anywhere from the soles of the feet, along the back of the sole of the foot, through the back of the ankle, back of the knee, back of the thigh, through the glutes, along the spine, and then up the back of the neck and possibly even to the brow. What we're looking for is a long line of gentle tension. So if you're feeling a really sharp or intense point of tension, you need a different setup or a different propping. If it's really loud in one area, we need to change that. At the same end, we want to feel gentle tension in a long line. So if you feel nothing at all, that's another indication of needing a different propping. And that nothing at all might be simply that you need to set yourself up to let gravity help you more. So with that, again, a chair is one option. Another big one is simply just bolstering yourself up, right? So I could simply add props underneath my hips, right? And I could do legs mostly bent, or bent but mostly straight, and come down. This is a little bit wider so I can feel more stable, so not tipping over, or legs together. We're not going for a super wide stance though. I personally enjoy having my feet propped up on something. It makes me feel more grounded, but wherever it feels good for you, it's not necessary. So this could be an option. You might also feel, if you've got your heels on the ground, you might need padding underneath the heels. Might feel good. And then it might also feel good to have something underneath the knees. But what is important is that I am supported in a way that I can be in a passive, gentle stretch, and that I can releasing tension everywhere from the crown of my head to my toes and my hands. And if the weight of your head adds too much tension, you could even prop the forehead. So lots of options here. So go ahead and take your final adjustments, repositioning. As you settle in, find your breath. As you stay in this supported forward fold, allowing your mind to observe the sensations as they shift and change. While you might be still, the subtle sensations will change. Allow yourself to get lost in the internal experience. You will feel the urge to fidget or to move. Come back to your breath as you evaluate. Is that a sensation that is dangerous and needs a response? Or can you let it go? And allow yourself to release all effort and tension. Allow each breath to find more softness. Gently lengthen and deepen your breaths. Let your breath be the first active part of this movement. Feeling how long, deep breaths change the sensations. And then let these breaths either let you carry you deeper, savoring the pose, or you might use these breaths to start lifting out. And as you lift out, when you start to unwind, you might just simply bend those legs and sit in a comfortable neutral position. Or you might take active counter pose, reaching the arms up or hugging the knees in close, doing some twists. Extending the legs, you could stand, you could crouch. Perhaps just rolling neck, rolling shoulders, rolling ankles. Taking this time in stillness and observation should also help you trust yourself to better evaluate what your body needs, what you're feeling. So as you're taking your movements or stillness, allowing yourself to transition and get ready for our next posture. If you have pets, they might also be in your way like Pigeon is. I'm going to lie on my side or on my back. I'm going to be setting up for a long arc. So from my back, I'm going to take both of my legs straight and I'm going to walk them to my right. I suggest we're all going to go the same way so that we don't get confused. So I'm walking my straight legs to the right as far as they'll go before my hip starts peeling off the ground. I want to keep both hips on the floor and feeling supported, and I might leave my legs parallel or I might cross left leg over right. And then I would take my shoulders and I'm going to shimmy them to my right. And so now I've created a long arc on my left side of my body. And I'll take that left arm and from the ground lying beside me, I'm going to sweep it up and over. I'm going to stop where it still feels supported by the ground. So you know you've gone too far if your hips start peeling off the ground or your arm starts coming off the ground significantly. So I might feel comfortable here without any props at all. That might be just fine. But you might end up getting a lot of pressure underneath a heel. So I might support my heel. On the other side, if you find things are slipping away and out of tension and into a neutral place where you feel nothing at all, you might need to add props or blocks or chairs or whatever else you have to keep your feet from sliding out of a gentle stretch. I might need support for my head or neck. I might find that while you want your arm to feel supported, that having your arm supported by a pillow or a blanket or just relieve a little pressure. I might even find support underneath a knee. And then once you're in your position, supported however you like, you might also play with the head position, looking left or right. As you settle, making any final adjustments, looking for a gentle line of fascial stretch all along the left side of your body. That might extend down to the left knee, all the way up into the left hand, through the hips and through the ribs. Allowing yourself now to sink in. Take perhaps a nice big sigh, allowing yourself to now let go of all movement, all effort. allowing your bones to feel supported by the floor and your props, and your muscles to hang off your bones. And every time there is distraction, forgive yourself, be compassionate to yourself, and simply come back to your breath. Gently lengthen and deepen your breath. Each exhale sinking a little further. Each inhale expanding a little more. Finding new space, new openness. And then reintroducing movement and coming out of the pose, coming back to neutral with your arm, with your shoulders, with your legs. You might simply enjoy lying there and noticing the effects of the posture, or you might desire some counter movement, stretching the legs up towards the ceiling, hugging the knees in towards the chest, rocking side to side. Perhaps feet on the floor, knees up towards the ceiling, swishing knees back and forth. Perhaps reaching the arms out long and big. And then at your own pace, when you're ready with any transitional movements, we'll begin setting up the other side. So walking legs over to the left, leaving them parallel or crossed. Shimmying shoulders to the left. Taking the right arm and sweeping it until you find that spot of increased length. And then exploring with propping. This side does not need to match the other side. You might simply want to try something different, or it might need something different. Allow it to be whatever it is. Allow it to need whatever support you call for. And then settling in, finding your breath, letting go of striving and trying, and allowing yourself to simply be. Allowing yourself to trust your body. Watching not only for distraction and letting that go, but watching for where tension creeps back in. Watching where you re-grip and seeing if you can let it be soft and easy. That might be in the line of fascial tension, but it might be in the jaw, the forehead, the throat, the toes. Allow yourself to observe and then release. Gently lengthen and deepen your breath. Either letting yourself use these breaths to savor where you have landed, to explore it just a little more, or using these breaths to help you unwind, come out, taking whatever movement or stillness calls to you. Our last yin posture. It's going to be a variation on a front body and twisting torso. And you can decide which you end up deciding to emphasize. Let's start on your left side. So lying on your left side, many things will change here, but starting by lying on your left side, bending the left knee and taking the top right arm and grabbing that bent bottom left leg. And if this reaches a little hard, you can use a blanket or towel or whatever soft prop you have to wrap around the foot and hold the foot to make that reach. Once you do have any sort of grasp from opposite, I've got right arm to left leg grasping behind me. I'm going to allow my chest to roll open towards the ceiling. And I might choose to keep the top leg twisting towards the floor so that my hips are rolling belly towards the floor and my chest is reaching up towards the ceiling with a big twist in the torso. Or I might choose to let my hips come towards my back and have almost both butt cheeks on the ground, less of a twist in the torso, and I might be having more of an emphasis on the left quad, left hip, and a twist sort of in the right hip. So either twisting the hips this way or lying on your back. And then adjusting the left arm wherever it feels most comfortable. So I might, again, finding different things to hold on to my foot, but I might also use props underneath my knees, either knee. Or I might use a prop or pillow underneath my head. And of course, any pressure points underneath the floor, underneath your body and the floor. And you might invent entirely other ways to prop and support yourself, to find a line of tension that needs release, needs opening. And then allow your body to settle. Allowing your breath to be the only movement. Gently lengthening and deepening your breath. Long, deep breaths, reintroducing movement, activity, engagement. And as always, taking whatever transition and then when you're ready, setting up your other side, in this case lying on your right side, grabbing your bottom right leg with your top left arm, and then either letting that top leg rest on the floor and really come towards the floor and allowing your chest to open, big torso twist, or letting your left hip roll towards the floor back behind you, letting that top knee come up, and then making any supporting adjustments you like. Remembering that this side does not have to match the other. You might just want to try something else. It might be calling for something else. It might need something else. Right. Propping under knees, ankles, hips, elbow. Making your adjustments. And then settling into stillness. Sinking into your breath. Gently lengthening and deepening your breath. And then before our final relaxation on the floor, if you need to take any active movement, active counter twists, swishing the knees back and forth, shaking out the legs, big long stretches, hugging the knees tight, curling into a tight ball, stretching the legs up towards the ceiling. Or you might simply be ready to lie completely on the floor, And you might choose to prop underneath the knees, or to take a blanket and just unfurl it and cozy up with it. You might prop underneath the head or cover your eyes. Allowing yourself time in a neutral, comfortable place. Allowing your eyes to feel deep and sink into their sockets. A time for you to feel at peace within your body. Taking a long, deep breath, stretching out long and big, and then curling into a ball, rolling it onto your side in that ball, and then using your arms to help you gently sit up. Sitting up comfortably. We'll take 3 breaths to conclude together. We'll inhale through the nose and exhale out the mouth together. Inhale. 2 more. Thank you. I hope you feel better. You are welcome to share any feedback or your experiences. You can do it in the chat of this live stream. You can also email me, Kym, Kym, @zested.net. You can visit our website to join our mailing list or follow us on Facebook or Instagram. And lastly, if you enjoy this practice, if you value this service, you can donate to paypal.me/zested. And then you can also just share this with friends and family, spreading our audience to anybody who might value it. Thank you. Have a peaceful night.